hope that Hank Williams Jr. will forgive me for borrowing some of his lyrics and adjusting them to fit this situation. What I would like to say on Sue's behalf is this: if heaven ain't a lot like Dixie, I don't want to go. If heaven ain't a lot like Dixie, I'd just as soon stay home. Now this is where I changed it. If they don't have a Renfro Valley like they do in Kentucky, just send me to hell or New York City. It'd be just the same to me. I met Sue for the first time, I believe. She was in the hospital, and I think it was the situation where she had that blood clot that traveled through her body. And she was laid up in the hospital. I believe she was still in ICU, if I remember correctly. And she was complaining about the pain because it was a very significant and painful event. But other than that, I just remember how happy she was about her state of affairs. She's like, I am just happy to be alive. And she recounted to me over and over again what a great life she had. And I know that she lived fully for each day. Back at Bourbon Heights, she never complained about a thing. Now, most people, I go to nursing homes all the time, and they just gripe and complain, and they just hate it. But she says, I love it here. It didn't take long for me to figure out why she liked it so much. One reason was she had everybody wrapped around her tiny little finger. If Sue said jump, they all responded, how high, Sue? I one time asked her what she was going to have for supper, and she said, whatever I want, baby. And that is true. They would bring Sue whatever she wanted. I know how much that staff loved her, not only because they jumped and fetched for her, but when she would good-naturedly curse at them, get your lazy butt over here and do something, they would give it right back. And that kind of reminded me of how families sometimes interact. You can't joke with people like that without first having profound love for one another. And so, like I said, I got to know Sue over these past few years. And one day, after the church had hosted an event in the activities room at Bourbon Heights, she brought some of us back to her room where she showed us pictures of her music career. And you all know, as a young woman, she traveled with members of her family down to Renfro Valley. There's a picture over there that I remember very well. She sang and played the guitar and wore that cute little outfit with boots. And I could just picture her doing that as a young woman. She shared the stage with and met many famous country and western performers. And I enjoyed sitting there looking through that scrapbook of all these really impressive people with pictures of her up close and personal with these personalities. And she had many of their autographs. Well, that part of her life paled in comparison with the life that she would cultivate with Shorty. She loved that man, and even many years after his passing, she was still deeply in love with him. He was the perfect yin to her yang. He was the salt to her pepper. They balanced each other out perfectly. He was calm, quiet, and mild-mannered, and she was none of those things. You know Sue. She told it like it was, and she told me stories of how they built that house from the ground up on Thatcher's Mill. She helped him drive the nails. He installed every piece of trim and hardwood on the floor, and he even bent the wood carefully to make arches from one room to the next. She loved being in that house with her 3 boys who could run back and forth between their house and their grandmother's. She was very involved in North Middletown. She was active here at the church where she sang right here in the choir. She ran her own beauty parlor, and she is probably taking many ladies' secrets with her to the grave today, unless the ladies preceded her to the graveyard. But after working all day, she would be up active in the evenings at the ball field at night or at the cannery with the other women after the gardens had been picked. She worked the polls on election day. As active as Sue was scuttling about Bourbon Heights for the past few years, I really can't imagine how much busier she was when she was young and able-bodied. The family told me how much she loved Christmas because Shorty would just give her a big pile of presents, while everybody else got one practical gift. And literally, some of you got that same practical gift, but nothing would be spared when it came to showering Sue with gifts. And you all know that Sue loved the Kentucky Wildcats. She would keep that television blaring all day long for fear that she'd miss a game. She would be all decked out in her Kentucky Wildcat blue, complete with earrings. And I wore my Kentucky earrings today to honor her memory. When Diane's family would get together for Christmas, Sue would be involved, and they would always play this Dirty Santa game. Well, in Diane's family, there's another diehard Kentucky fan named Nancy. And Sue and Nancy would talk smack about who was going to get what Kentucky paraphernalia, and that was always included in the Dirty Santa game just to stoke the competitive fires between them. And as it got really contentious, I could hear Sue saying something like, "Nancy, don't go falling in love with that. I'm coming after that, and it's coming home with me." I bet she said something very similar to that, and I bet she got her way more times than not. Now, you all know that a woman does not give up on her looks just because she goes to live in a facility. Sue made sure that she got herself up, got herself coiffed, and put on her makeup every single day. A typical day at Bourbon Heights, especially in her early years, consisted not just of one outfit, no, that wouldn't do. She would have one for daytime and one for evening, and sometimes a third if there was a special event. It was like she thought she was on a cruise ship. One reason Sue might have kept herself looking so beautiful is, despite her continued love for Shorty, she still thought she had some game, and she was a flirt. She flirted with a young doctor who served there for an interim period of time, and she went to the Bourbon Heights Senior Prom, they call it, with Anthony Collier, the director of maintenance. Now, there was a picture I saw of them two, dancing or standing close to each other, and Sue was grinning ear to ear. Now, what you don't know is that Anthony's partner, Risa, works here in the church office. And so I was telling Risa about Anthony and Sue, giving her a hard time. And the next time I visited, I said, "Sue, you know, I'm going to have to tell Risa about your relationship with Anthony." And she said to me, "You're going to shut your mouth." And then later I visited her, and I took my husband with me. And before long, the two of them were chatting it up and flirting, and it was like I wasn't even there. I was the minister, and I was chopped liver. And so when we said our goodbyes, we gave her a little sweet hug, and she pulled him a little closer and said, "Next time you come, leave her down the street." So she was the mayor of Bourbon Heights, the ombudsman, and probably the unofficial social chairperson, because she was an entertainer her whole life. And she just wanted everybody to have the same good time that she was always having. And so she went to every event there, made every craft, every hat, every ornament imaginable. And half the time when I go there to try to visit with her, I couldn't find her because she'd be out and about on her rounds. Diane and Ronnie told me about this one woman who was 103 years old who had not left her room for years. And one day, Sue just wasn't going to have any of it. And she went down there and she instructed this woman that she was going to get up out of bed and go to the Bourbon Heights birthday party. The woman's family came up with all kinds of excuses. "Oh, Sue, you're sweet, but she just really doesn't want to go. Thank you for trying." But Sue wouldn't relent. And the woman finally agreed that she wanted to go, and Sue got her up and got her all made up and coiffed for the occasion. People just can't believe how persuasive Sue Davis could be, and I'm sure she helped many people at that facility just by stopping by and brightening their day, or giving them a hard time when they needed it, or maybe even lifting their spirits by flirting with them a little bit. Now, she had many friends there, and I can't name them all, but I do know the ones that she had were also members of the church. And so she would spend time visiting with Polly and Frank Lawrence, with Bill Davis, who's also a musician, and getting them together was really interesting. She would roll over and visit with Kenny Roseberry for a while, and she would also attend some of our church's events there at Bourbon Heights. And recently she had a special friend there who went by the name of Sparky. His real name is Silas Hinkson, and he was a North Middletown man, so they already knew each other. And they just had the most beautiful friendship. They had a ritual whereby each morning he'd roll by her room and make sure she was up and ready to start the day. And I know how much she missed him once he passed. She loved you, her family, and she told me all about you, especially as we would look at the pictures that were around the room. She was so proud of her boys and the men that you have become. She spoke fondly of each and every one of you and your children. She adored her daughters-in-law, and she glowed when she spoke of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Sue will be missed. She will leave a hole in our hearts and in our lives. Someone who is that big with their personality leaves a big hole when they're gone. Her family, her friends, her fellow church members, and the staff who knew her like family are all going to miss her. It's going to take a long time to get over not having our Sue around. The only thing that comforts us is knowing that she has no more pain, she is completely at peace, and she is with her Maker. I don't claim to know what heaven is like, but for Sue, I hope it's a lot like Dixie, because now they've got a great new singer and guitarist in their band, and she can make sweet music and entertain all those heavenly hosts and be there in happiness for eternity. God, we are so grateful that you created this wonderful woman to be our mother, our grandmother, our great-grandmother, and friend. Give her a big hug for us and let her know how much we will miss her. And if I'm correct, I bet at this point in her own service, Sue would say, "Now shut your mouth and get me over there to the cemetery and let's all get on with our lives." So let's take a page from Sue's book and make haste and enjoy every single moment that our God has given us. Thanks be to God.